In our last video, we went cold camping for the first time and encountered a few snags. In this video, we are finally going to give you a tour of our tiny camper, which is a Kodiak Stealth from Rustic Trail Teardrops. We'll also share our honest opinions about our camper, including the good and the bad about camping in such a small space.
Hey, we just wanted to break in here real time, real quick, for two reasons. One, we wanted to make sure that you knew that this is not a sponsored video. And number two, and more importantly, we wanted to wish our moms a happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day!
We love both of you and we appreciate you and all of your support. We also want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the other moms that are watching our channel, and we thank you as well and hope you have a great weekend. But now let's move on to the long-awaited tiny camper tour.
All right, let's do it.
Hi. I don't remember what I was going to say.
Nice.
Don't remember. We're getting ready to start the 2022 camping season, and we decided while we're cleaning everything out and getting the camper ready to go, this would be the perfect time to give you a more detailed tour. And we've been promising this for a while, and we figured it was time.
It's time. Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, so first we're going to take a look at the outside.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the outside storage and what kind of features this has around the outside of it, and then we'll go inside, and that's what I'm sure everybody really wants to see, is how it really works inside.
Right, so make sure you stay tuned to the end so you don't miss any of the good stuff.
Both sides of the outside storage bin have these doors. They latch, and they have a magnet that holds them up. They are lockable.
See that there's quite a bit of storage here, which is wonderful, but as you start packing for a trip, it actually does get taken up fairly quickly, as you'll see as we start to load our things in for a trip. One of the options that we got with the trailer was this outdoor table. It goes over the top of this fender on the door side of the trailer. So this has some heavy-duty wheel wells that will support pretty much anybody's weight. I forget the weight limit on those, but you can stand on those and get up to your roof rack. The roof rack I know will do 350 pounds. This model comes with an air conditioner. It has, it's covered up right now. It's just got a bungee cord strap that holds the cover on. It's basically the kind you would put in a window of a small apartment or something like that. It's not a normal RV air conditioner. The front rack here that we have, that's an option. We decided not to get anything else on top of it because we want to sort of customize our own box there. We have our shore power connection, and right next to that we have an outlet that we can plug lights into or whatever we need to power outside. And then we also have, it's also solar ready. If we ever put panels on the roof or have some external panels, we could hook it up to here and power the battery. It comes with a real spare tire, 15-inch tire mounted to the side. Some latch hooks here on the outside for tying stuff down. So the door does have a window in it and a sliding louver, I guess you'd call it. Does a really good job of keeping the light out. It's one downside when you're inside and you want the door closed, you can't really get to that to put it up and down because of the screen door. Got a grab handle climbing in and out, which is helpful because when you're bending over and trying to step down, and it's not as easy as walking into a normal trailer that you can stand up in. Comes with a really heavy-duty step stool, which was nice. Very heavy-duty. I believe it's solid steel. It also has an outdoor light, which runs off the battery. We have a ton of room in this tiny camper, and I say that as a 6'3" guy. There's a little sarcasm there. Show you what it's like to get in and out. First of all, yes, you have to duck to get in, because I have hit my head many times. This is me standing up in this tiny camper. Oh yeah, I do have plenty of head. I can sit up straight. If I really push my head up, I can hit the ceiling. But I don't sit like that. I sit more like this, which gives me about, what, an inch, maybe 2. There is some tricks to maneuvering inside here, especially when this table is up. There's 2 posts that are right about here. You know, see, I'm already hitting the post. You gotta maneuver very carefully.
Nothing to it.
Nothing to it. You gotta be a little flexible. You gotta be able to contort yourself just a little bit with this table up.
But once you're in, there is space if you don't have any gear with you.
Right. That's the thing. And this area can fill up a lot. So up by our heads on the bed, there are 2 USB ports for charging phones or whatnot. That runs off the battery. We have a max air fan, which is really nice. It's reversible. It can suck air in or blow air out and run it when it's raining, and it won't leak. There are 4 push button lights scattered throughout that run off the battery. Up front, there is a power strip that runs off shore power, as well as the air conditioner, which is down below. The air conditioner will not run off battery. It's only off shore power. Table down.
Dust. There's dust in here.
She's really not crazy. I don't think.
I get to show you the storage, which there actually is a lot of storage. This is one of the benefits to this type of camper versus a traditional teardrop. I believe there's more storage. You've got this countertop space, which is super handy. We use this much more than we should, which we'll show you in a picture when we're on a camping trip. This gets covered, and we're hoping to do something differently so that everything has a spot, and then this won't be such a mess. We have this upper cabinet storage, and we put our clothes in there. It's kind of tricky because it's rounded, so you have to be kind of particular about what sorts of things you'd store in here.
Just like an Airstream.
Just like an Airstream, exactly. And we have 2 of those, so that's where Dennis puts his clothes on this side and I put my clothes on this side. And this is me standing up. I'm 5'8" and I can't stand up in here either. Yeah. There are 2 drawers. Typically put socks and underwear and things like that in those.
Well, I don't, because I don't change my underwear.
And then this looks like it would be a ton of storage, which on this side it really is. There is a bunch of storage in there. But unfortunately on this side, it's mostly taken up by the battery and a bunch of cords. And we would like to do something different with that at some point and move that either to the front rack or somewhere else so that we can reclaim that storage because we need it. When the camper is in bed mode, this front storage here is all we have access to. We also have an incredible amount of storage in the bench seating area. If it's in bed mode, you can't get to that storage. So this is what we rely on heavily when we're on a trip. We've only been on 1 week-long trip so far, and we couldn't fit all of our clothing in this upper space when we needed things for an entire week. So what we did is we utilized the bench storage during that time, and we packed a couple, maybe 2-3 days worth of clothing up here. And then as that got dirty and we emptied that out, we took a second load of clothing that was in the bench storage and we put it up here. So we basically swapped, and that worked out really well. We will show you, it's a little bit of a chore moving from bed mode to table mode. So when we were on our long trip, we pretty much kept it in bed mode, other than when we needed to access the bench storage.
Did you drop something on the floor?
I did! Okay, so it's right under the table. I'll just grab it real quick.
Yeah, just do that real quick.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Tiny camping is fun. Ow.
Watch your head.
See? Not so hard.
Yeah. Now we're going to show you what it's like to go from table mode to bed mode. First thing you need to do is get the table out of here.
Not always easy. And sometimes the posts stay attached to the table.
And sometimes they stay in the floor, and I'm not sure which one is better, honestly.
Yeah. Might be a good time to say that we're not a big fan of those posts.
No, we think we need to do an upgrade to our table at some point here.
There was an option to upgrade it when we bought it to a, I think it's called a lagoon type table, where it attaches to down here someplace and then it can swivel and do all that. But we tried to save a little money.
Oopsie.
Okay.
So before we switch it to bed mode, I want to show you what the storage looks like in the bench. Seating. There's a lot of storage in here. I don't know if you can see that. We've put a couple of boxes in here so that we can have our shower shoes and we can keep some towels. And then if we're on a longer trip, we each have a box where we can put clothing. And then that's more of long-term storage that we don't need to get to right away. So we have the seating on that side. We also have storage on this side. The only difference being that our Porta Potti goes on this side. So, and the Porta Potti goes in and out through this door in the front.
And that side's the only side with a door. So I'm gonna set that like that for a minute. Now this is one thing that I kind of didn't like. I'm not sure why it's this way. It's something I'm gonna have to fix at some point. Oops. So that sits in there like that, but it should be, in my opinion, it should be sitting flush with the rest of it, and it doesn't. The table sticks up half an inch or so. But we really don't notice it when we're sleeping, I mean, honestly. And then, so that's there, then these cushions slide down. And they squish in there. And eventually they stay.
Right, and we forgot to put the legs underneath the bed.
These usually go, store them under here. So I've been told by somebody wiser than me that this works better if you...
No. Keep it the way it was, but you have to shove the middles and then shove the edges after.
Gotcha. So you're like this.
Yes.
And then try to shove those down.
Yep, do one side and now shove the other. And now they tend to stay down.
Okay. Good.
Ta-da!
All right. So, how much sleeping space do you have? That goes all the way up there. It is 6 feet, almost 2 inches long.
So what are you complaining about, 6'3", man?
Well, We don't always sleep on just these cushions.
And your head probably can't actually get all the way.
Yeah, this once you put a pillow in here, you know, your head is really right around in here, maybe a little further down.
Yeah, and it gets narrower as it goes up. So measure it from like there, not there.
Like there?
Like the middle. No. The middle of the wood in the back. See how it tapers in?
Yeah, which
if you go down.
Right, if you go down.
Okay, do you guys have as hard of a time communicating with your husbands as I do? The middle of that wood in the back. There. Okay, now measure to the edge.
Well, I can't because it's up here. It's up high. That's why I'm trying to measure from there.
Okay.
That's like 5.5-ish feet.
Well, no wonder.
And then really it's probably less once you put our other mattress on. So
yes, there you go. 6'3".
Yeah, so I'm not gonna sleep up here with my head right up against the wall, and you know I gotta have room for pillow and whatnot, and my feet are hanging off the edge. The other thing about these cushions is they're like 2 inches thick, maybe 2.5. Call it about 2.5.
Okay.
And they're pretty squishy. There's not a lot of firm support there, so you end up sinking down, and it doesn't take long before you feel like you're sleeping on a piece of plywood.
We came up with a solution.
We do. We bought it's called a trifold mattress, and it folds up. It's got some hinges built into the fabric, and it's got sections to it, and then there's like fabric hinges between the sections. So we bring that in and out of here, and once we lay that down, it's a 4-inch mattress. It's much firmer, and we get a lot better sleep on it, I believe. We've tried it both like this and with the other mattress. There's pluses and minuses to doing it each way. If we do it just this way, we don't sleep as well, less comfortable at night, but we have better access to, say, the under bench storage.
And it's one less complication for going between bed and table.
Right, because if we have that other mattress in here, for one thing, we do lose some headroom when we're sitting up in bed. You lose well, it's a 4-inch mattress, but then you squish it down to probably 2 inches, so you lose a couple inches here. Plus you have to fold it up and store it in the back area of the trailer here if you're going to put it in table mode.
And there's also bedding and...
Well, bedding's an issue either way, I think.
Right.
It's about 58 inches wide from wall to wall.
How many feet is that?
That is 4 foot 10 inches.
Not quite 5.
Not quite 5. Mm-hmm. A queen size is exactly 5 feet wide. So the mattress that we bought, we had to shave off a couple inches. We used an electric knife to shave off the edge of all the different sections that go through, just to make it fit in here better, because otherwise it was scraping the walls when you tried to slide it in and out.
And this is the finished product in bed mode. We have struggled with this a little bit throughout our trips. We've been trying to do things differently each trip. The first trip we had just the padding that came with the camper, and then we had our trifold mattress all together like you initially saw it, with all 4 pieces inside the blue fabric. It's too long. Let's just take one out. It's easy.
It's easy.
Yeah.
Camping's easy.
This one out and shove this mattress. It's way too short. So you really need to have 3 of the pieces in place to make it function, unless you were, 5 foot tall. So
right.
What our plan is now, we figured this out on our last trip. So what our plan is now is we're going to take the fabric off for that's attached to these two big pieces. For the small pieces, we're gonna have that removed and then move it, have them be separate. So we'll have this big 2-section piece will be together, and then those 2 smaller pillows will be separate, and we can fit them. We have one laying flat the way I had it and one laying up on its side, because it's just incredibly too long if we have them both flat like it came.
And I kind of like having the one turned up on end like that to prop my pillow up against.
Lay one flat, one up on end.
Yep.
Lay this one flat, and then push the mattress, and bam, go ahead and put your sheet on the 3 that are laying flat, and it really worked well for us. It was very comfortable, and it wasn't too long. We could still get in and out the door.
Yep.
We could still use the porta potty at night. There was plenty of room down here in the hallway. I think we finally hit on something that's going to work well for us. When we want to go from bed mode to table mode with this extra mattress, it is just one step more complicated. What we need to do is move this so they're both upright on their edge. And we can take this and very carefully, because we don't want to hit the windows or the command strips, fold it. Then we just take these 2 pieces, put them on top of each other, and shove it that way. And like that. And then we can take our table out, set it over here, because we kind of like being able to sit on the bench seating without the table legs in our way.
A lot of times there'll be blankets or stuff up here too,
Yeah,
piled up. You can move that in and use it for more backrest.
Right.
And that is a tour of our tiny camper.
If there's anything that you didn't see that you'd like us to cover, make sure you leave a comment and we will cover that in a future video. But yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell.
So what's your overall impression of tiny camping in here so far? You wanted me to go first, didn't you?
You know, I have to be honest, I was seriously a little bit shocked by how small the camper is when we first got it.
Yeah, when we first set foot, because we ordered this online.
Right.
We didn't visit the place to look at these to begin with.
I mean, we live in Michigan and they're in North Carolina.
Right. So we kind of laid out the measurements on the living room floor and kind of said, okay, yeah, that doesn't look bad. And then when we got down there to pick it up, I stepped inside here and sat down, and I think Michelle had the same thoughts. It's like, what did we get ourselves into?
I didn't step foot inside it until we had already paid for it and we're back in Ohio.
Oh,
Yeah, we camped at Hocking Hills State Park, so it was like a 6-hour drive from where we had picked it up. And we've already talked about this in previous videos. It was a pretty harrowing drive there, but the first time I stepped into the camper, I thought, oh, what in the world? How am I supposed to sleep in this?
Right. How are we supposed to maneuver? I mean, just
Right.
if we're both trying to stand up, kind of have to spoon a little bit to stand up. You can't stand in opposite directions because you both have to lean.
Yeah, it's a bit of a dance. So honestly, that first trip home was rough. I'm pretty sure I kind of almost threw my back out because I wasn't used to having to crouch with no headroom.
Right.
And then I think I kind of tweaked it trying to get out of the camper. I was trying to twist and hold onto the railing a little bit too much, or the little handhold thing, and it was sort of a miserable experience, but it was only 3 or 4 days later. That was only one night. We made it home, and then we had 3 or 4 days, and we had a camp to be up in Michigan's Upper Peninsula for a week. And that trip was amazing.
Yeah, we had a blast. We kind of figured out the sleeping situation. We had the extra mattress at that point.
We did. We brought the extra mattress with us. It was all in one piece, so it was big.
Yeah.
we had to figure out the sleeping situation because this extra mattress makes it so there's a lot less room in here.
Right.
But it made it much more comfortable. And it was August, so we had our outdoor area set up, and we just kept things in bed mode.
Right.
We didn't try to go back and forth between bed and table every day. We ate outside. And I think that trip is what helped us fall in love with our tiny camper. But there was a lot of figuring. You know, where do we put this and how do we do that? And that whole forcing us to be in it for a week helped us to figure some of that stuff out.
You just figure it out as you go, and there's no like one solution to everything. And we're not saying that this bed solution is the best for anybody else. It's what's working for us right now. We may come across a different solution later on, but for now, that's the way it is.
We're 2 tall people in a tiny camper, and that makes it a little bit different. If we were both 5'2" or 5'5", you know, then we may do things a little bit differently, but we're not. We're big. So anyway, all that to say, we've only had 4 or 5 trips. All that to say, we've only had 4 or 5 trips in this so far because we got it. You got it at the very end of 2021 camping season. So we're still learning. If you had asked us right after we picked it up if we made a mistake, we both would have said, I don't know, we may have made a mistake.
Right.
But now
I don't think we have.
No.
I think now it only gets better from where we're at now. We can see the benefit of it. We can see we try to be like minimalist as much as we can. And this forces us to do that more. Yeah. I mean, there's still stuff that we have to figure out. There's some mods that we've been making a list of that we want to do, and we're going to do those to make things a little easier.
Maximize storage.
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, at night when we crawl in here at the end of a camping day, this thing, it's like everything we have just explodes, just vomits all over the place. I mean, the counter is filled with stuff. Especially cold camping, our right. Coats and our extra blankets and everything are all up in that area, and there's hardly any room to move, but we're still figuring that part out. It's when it comes to summer camping, I think it's a lot better.
I definitely agree with that, because when it's cold outside, you're not going to set up very much outside because you can't hang out outside. It's too cold. So then you have to do everything in here, and that also means having to use the table every day and go back and forth between bed and table, and that definitely makes it a little harder.
Which we may figure out a way not to have to do that. I don't know.
You may.
We're still, again, figuring stuff out. It's all about figuring, you said. So.
Right. But we are at the very beginning of the 2022 camping season, and we get to camp in this all season long.
Right.
We've got tons of reservations made already, and we're super excited to show you our trips and how we use our tiny camper.
Absolutely. It's going to be a fun year, for sure. Michelle's happy because of the sunshine.
I was doing a sunshine dance, but I'm not doing that.
That's not how you did it before.
I am not doing that.
We hope you've had as much fun as we did showing you the ins and outs of trying to maneuver in a small space such as our Kodiak Stealth. Things are a bit more difficult in a camper of this size, but that's okay. It pushes us to think a little more creatively and minimalistic. Even though it's smaller than our tent, we enjoy it more because it helps us to get out and travel in weather that we otherwise wouldn't. Plus, we stay much drier when it rains. Thanks to Rustic Trail Teardrops, we love our Kodiak Stealth. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video, as we make a few small mods to our tiny camper and do a little more cold camping at Fort Custer State Park, and have a little photography fun with some sled dogs. Thanks for watching, and until next time, go out and live your best life, one adventure at a time.